This week on the line call, it's Lee Warfield in the building. It's the first time we've done this with you in this building. You were on the show way back when, Mr. Warfield, and we were in the food hall, and we had a little bit of a more janky setup. I mean, we're in a swanky room. This is beautiful. We have this TV behind us with the logo on it. I mean, there's a lot to discuss today on where we were and where we are now. So first of all, thanks for being here. How are things from your perspective so far?
Well, I missed the food hall. It was a great place to
We've overstayed our welcome, by the way. Steve Bonneville, who runs Regency, informed Joe T. and I yesterday that the time is now to finally vacate the food hall for good.
We moved and left all our junk there.
We did.
So anyway, no, it's great to be here, and what a change. And what a couple of months it's been since the last time we talked.
Lee, you and I are both impatient. Like, we want everything now, and we want, to be where we're going to be probably in 6 months in terms of programming and all those things. But it is moments like that, I think, where you look back and then you were like, wow, that was 2 months ago. What it has become. What has that 2 months been like for you? Joe and I kind of know what it's been like for us, and it's different for every one of our employees and everything else. But, from the 10,000-foot view, where we were then, where we are now.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like our heads were just down, and you're just doing every second of the day was focused on getting ready and trying to get to opening, and then it happens, and you're open, and then you're dealing with everything from the plumbing back up to everything that happened on the first day, and the great things, 99% great, and in 2 months seems like 2 years right now. We've actually really been fully open for 2 months, and so. I couldn't be more pleased. I do think it's been something where we've all just been so busy and so focused and so intense on making it right and trying to get everything perfect every day that we're open. And, for us to have come this far in just under 2 months is pretty amazing.
Based on what has happened in the 2 months, are there things that have come together that maybe surprised you a little bit and how quickly it came together, or even something that was initially, kind of a sketchy idea that turned into a really good one?
Well, we have a lot of sketchy ideas, but luckily none of them see the light of day. They're all John's ideas.
Yeah,
that's right.
No, disco night with Joe T.
That's coming. That's a good idea. I think one of the things that really amazed me, and it might have seemed maybe stupid, not sketchy, but when John said we're going to have this massive tournament within a few weeks after opening.
Mm-hmm.
And we did, and we pulled it off, and not just pulled it off. It was a great tournament, well attended. It was a chance for us to showcase the facility really early on, which was a lot of pressure on the staff and everybody to perform, and we way outperformed. And the broadcast was great, just everything about it. Yeah. And so many people got to see the facility, and we got so many great comments, got great feedback. So that to me was of one of the highlights of our first 2 months.
Yeah, Lee, as we're recording this, we're still head down, but it's in a more fun way. As we're recording this, I can see my wife, Renee, our events director, like peeking through the window, like, when the hell are they going to be out of there? Because she's got a big event with your high school, collegiate school, coming out here today. But it's head down on the fun things, like having people here and showcasing the facility and all of those things. I don't know if you've felt this, but for whatever reason this week, and this is a Wednesday, people will be hearing this on Thursday, we're not nearly all the way there yet, but it's almost as if, okay, we can breathe and get back to creating rather than reacting. It's odd. It's a day-to-day thing, and like today I've never felt more than that. Do you sense that too with like, hey, it's starting to work. We're starting to see the actualization.
Well, you might not be able to tell that all the time because I'm always worried about something here or there, but yes, I do have that feeling. And anytime you are involved in a big project or anything that you've done in your life, and first there's you're intense about it, you're scared about it, you're worried about it, you're trying to make sure everything's perfect, and you have all that energy going into it, and then at some point you go, this is working. Mm-hmm. And there are things that I still need to do. We still need to always look at. It's never over. As you say, building Pickleball Paradise is never over. But I think we're at that point now where we're taking a breath and we're going, wow, that's working. Mm-hmm. That's working really well. Kitchen IVA is a pretty cool thing. The food is great. We have a great team over there. The pickleball side of things, going great. Yeah, we're doing some tweaks, and we're getting ready. We finally been able to think about those things, John, and now we're like, oh yeah, let's do this, this, and that, and we're starting to implement those things. So that's exciting, and it's fun, and it's getting more and more fun.
Yeah, and I think, Joe, you may not even know this or be privy to it, and what I like is our ability to be nimble, our willingness to be nimble. There's not a ton of voices in the room in terms of this is an obvious fix or this is an obvious tweak that we should make. It's essentially Lee and I. But when we got leagues up and going right off the bat, it locked us a little bit into the morning schedule. So when Lee's talking about tweaks to that, members will see this in their inboxes actually before they hear this. But just further explanation, for us it's become pretty obvious to move the beginning of the first play session in the morning, for example, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., do 8 to 10 and 10 to 12, and move the leagues back a little bit to allow some earlier play. But we don't want to take anything away from anybody with the morning crew or being open at 7. But it just allows us a little bit more flexibility. Doors still open at 7. If you sign up at 8, you can also play at 7, do some drilling. The courts aren't nearly as full then. And on it goes. We'll do a better job of explaining that. It's easier to write it and read it and see it, and I think, and all those things. But, and as Lee just mentioned, Kitchen RVA, yesterday was a huge day for us in terms of we didn't take anything away from the menu that people have been enjoying, but we got to the smoothie bar that it's been long awaited. I'm actually sipping on one right now. Joe's going to clip this video. This is the raspberry smooth operator, and this is my grilled chicken Caesar salad.
That looked amazing. I hope it tasted as good as it looked.
It's really good. Yeah, I mean, to Lee's point, our food has been good since we opened, but we're just dialing it in where, it's a more comprehensive option for everybody, and it's a lot of work though to get there. You take some staffing risks with consulting and things like that, but it's kind of a period of gratification right now before I'm sure you and I get impatient about something else and we get out of it. But for today, is there any part of it, Lee, that you're just like, I cannot believe where we started from? For me, it's Kitchen RVA. Just 3 months ago, just standing there, we need to rearrange this whole thing, and why did we order this?
Well, given our expansive bar and restaurant experience background,
I'm good on the one side, and that is not the inside.
I'm sure we expected it to be perfect right away. No, that was one of the things where we, we're almost there, and we're like, wait a minute, we have no idea what we're doing in this area. And it has worked out, but we had a few bumps along the way, and it was scary at times that we had no idea what we were going to do in that area, but it's turned out great. And if you've been here and you've eaten here, the comments are just positive, very positive about everything we're doing there. So that's great.
Yeah, I would piggyback on that just from a customer perspective. Some people might see it from the outside as the bowling alley model of just having some food, but this is legitimate, well cooked, well prepared food. It's not just French fries and hot dogs, which is a huge benefit. To that point about adding something or having things that aren't pickleball specific in a pickleball facility, there have been people here that don't play pickleball that maybe are here for the first time because of a company event. You guys are hearing the feedback more than I am, but what's it been like to hear from those that aren't in the normal pickleball community circles that, yeah, they're going to find the things and say the positive things about this place, but they also have some context, some previous relationships with you all. But when you hear it from people that aren't in that community, how gratifying is that? Does it bring it to another level for you?
Well, it does for me. I'm sure it does for John as well. I mean, we've had a lot of events that we've hosted and people out in the business world that I know, and people that aren't really in the pickleball world, but they may be after coming in here.
Right.
Remark to me either on the spot or maybe send me an email or give me a call and say, just, wow, I knew that there was something going on here, but I had no idea the scale and the professionalism. I didn't know you were going to do this. You guys were going to put this together at this level. And
neither did we.
No, we did. It was our goal. But we had a company outing for Tallheimer, my company Tallheimer, and there were plenty of people there that were blown away with the scale of it, and those that were close to the project here, Regency Square itself, knew. But if you hadn't been in here, you were amazed at how it was transformed from a dingy basement with 4 walls and nothing else but a bunch of junk to what it is now.
to Lee's point, we're getting more and more eyes onto the wow factor and what it is. And March is just going to be massive for us, as you know, in that regard. We're hosting 2 one-day events, both of which for an awesome cause, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation and Ronald McDonald House Charities. But then with the Duper Virginia Super Regional coming in on the opening weekend of March Madness, when we'll tie those together because Town Bank, which just hosted the College Cup. Anyway, point being, there's going to be a lot of exuberance in here with people coming in and experiencing in different ways. And we saw that with the College Cup this past weekend. So many parents and family members and friends that weren't playing, that were just coming in and eating and drinking and having fun. And, there's roars going up in the corners. We got the JMU Dukes thing to start the day. And it's I don't know. I'm going nowhere with the statement other than to say, like, as spring is springing, like, we're kind of springing to life.
Excitement's building.
And returning to being able to get out of bed and not being so exhausted. So, it's just all those amazing things. Lee, the one big downside to this has been you and I's actual performance on the court. We suck, man. We didn't finish last in our league, but we won 1 game.
Yeah, that was
we only
bad.
played 2, but
brighter days ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, if yesterday's any indication, you got it back. Playing with you guys yesterday was the most fun I've had playing pickleball ever.
It's always fun to play, so we haven't done enough of it, and we plan to do more.
Good. I wanted to kind of piggyback off what John's saying about all the great things that are providing this extra bit of energy, but you guys have to be confident about where things are going and to feel good about the future as opposed to just sitting back and feeling great about the past. Is this really a more recent time that you felt that confidence, or maybe is this?
I don't want to sound cocky or anything, because it's really more a reflection of the team, not me or anything. But there's never a moment where I didn't think we couldn't do anything that we've already done. We've done it. We knew we could do it, and we were going to do it. And there was no doubt about it. So, I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of hold your breath and hope it goes right. But we had the pieces in place to do it, and I think we always knew what we were going to do, and we were just going to do it. And we have. And now we can find ways to keep doing it better and bigger. And
I'm a huge believer, going back, we were joking around a little bit about the pickleball resolution, and I kept telling our staff, I'm like, this is going to be a stress test on the facility, but we're testing it at what we do absolutely the best. That's what we knew. That, as we had no food and beverage experience, we have a tremendous amount of tournament experience, and this facility takes away a lot of the headaches of doing events outside, which we will continue to do, by the way. I knew we could pull it off because I've seen them pull it off in much more adverse conditions than just being tired and being new. I've seen Tyann and Christina and Renee and myself and everybody pull it off with scaffolding for TV towers and not having outlets and just working around those things. I knew that the first 2 weeks of January were going to be rough on everybody, and they were. But I was really, really proud with how they handled it. Christina Shiflett, just kind of standing. She was the front door and was just really patient with people. And I knew once we got through that the product was good, right? To what Lee was saying, when you have people that have built big things well before, Lee's in a perfect position to see that. Tallheimer, obviously that's what they do, is develop. So to have those people in early and to say, this product is good, this food is good, this beer lineup is good, then one, word of mouth is going to go from group to group to group to group. But also, the hardest thing in sales to do, it's nearly impossible, is if you're attempting to sell something you don't believe has that value. We don't have that problem. I mean, there's always going to be some kinks or something to break or whatever else, but to adapt on the fly, you can sell it with confidence, you can showcase it with confidence. But again, to Lee's point, there's still so much work to be done. If I had a nickel for every time someone came up and they have great ideas, right? Just like we think we do occasionally, and it's the same, and we're like, we know, like we're already putting it in, like with camps and clinics and on, your mind still swims, but it's in a much, much more positive direction.
Well, on that same note, ask you guys about what's coming up. We've talked a lot about how we've got to this point, but what about updates right around the corner? Even as recently as this new beer that's exclusive to Performance. That's a huge thing. That's
careful, Joe. It's not 5 o'clock yet.
Lee, are there other? Why is that important to the overall performance brand and personality to be that involved with other businesses around here? I know they're your friends, but regardless of that particular example, I assume that that's something John just talked about Henrico County as a whole, but there's other potential partnerships with other businesses that could be made. Why is that an important piece to keep this train rolling as opposed to just sitting back and being a pickleball facility?
Oh, I mean, I think I've always been a proponent of doing business with friends and people that you know, and I hope they do the same with me. I think John, I know being around John as long as I have, he feels the same way. So I think you'll see that throughout our facility with the people we work with.
Well, I think it's good for people to know that more of that kind of stuff is going to happen. More of those community activations between, we're not just going to be over here doing our own thing on the mountain by ourselves. It's going to be everybody lifting everybody else.
John mentioned all the calendar of incredible things we're doing. He just touched on the surface. He just got through June.
That's
July.
1 month. Well, yeah.
Where's the second half?
Yeah,
but it's there, believe me. But I mean, I'm excited about the possibility of things like, how can we partner with. How can we partner with the community, whether it be the county or larger, area, to activate the community, to get kids involved in pickleball, to do more of a public outreach in that respect. I mean, it's self-serving for us. Obviously, we love getting more people into the game. It helps us, but it's also important for us. We want to be seen as, a pillar in the community, somebody that is not just out here just for themselves. Mm-hmm. Of course, we're a business, but we want to be part of the community and bring something to the community, not just take from the community. So that's something that we look at in the future, I think.
Yeah, and the instructional programming. I know, Joe, we beat on that last week, but if folks notice, the first two programs we rolled out are to that point, right? It's Linda Vett and her beginners program that kind of takes you from, how do I get involved, to confidently being able to mix in 2 weeks. And then we rolled out the next day the JMA experience with Jonathan Medina Alvarez, which is, you don't have to be a 5.0 level player, by the way, to sign up for that. It just means that you want to make that dedication to add the physical fitness aspect to it, and the personal training. And then here comes clinics. I'm about to announce, actually, tomorrow is my hope, the first Ruckus clinic with Tim Cass and Derek Crage and friends, March 11th and 12th here. And then to Lee's point, summer camps. We need to get those up. We know this is when parents are starting to get, not starting, or well down the road of getting children into programming for the summer. We want to do that, obviously. Individual lessons with our coaches, of course, are big. And then spring leagues are already up and almost full. We're excited about that. And then in session 2 of our spring leagues, introducing team leagues to it. USTA is up, and we'll do that to some degree. But we want to bring that to all levels of play, and where you may have 6 and you have a team name and you can create a logo, things like that. So there's a million things in the hopper, including adding more partners. We have a phenomenal stable of partners or sponsors, however you want to refer to them. There's a few more that I'm eager to talk to in the next week or so to add to that. And that adding that allows us the flexibility to do so many of the other things because of their investment within what we're doing. So there's a couple of announcements that I can't share coming very soon too. More for the back half of the year that Lee mentioned.
A teaser. We'll have to have another state of performance address like we've had so far on this podcast. Anything else that you guys want to make sure gets put out this week here on the podcast? Maybe some if there are updated rules in the facility or things of that nature that our members and non-members should be aware of.
Yeah, I think the big thing is, and again, I'm sending a message to our membership. Well, I'll get it today when they're listening to this. And I hope that it doesn't come across as stern. That's not the way that it's intentioned. But being operational now within the skill sessions for a month and a half and operational for almost 2 months or maybe a little more than that today, is we just realized that there are certain people that just need more direction in terms of following the rules. 99% of people are following it, and it's phenomenal. And when they do, the system is great and the sessions are great. But we've identified, for example, some individuals are signing up for back-to-back sessions, showing up late, an hour late for the first one, and leaving an hour late or an hour early into the second one. Doesn't seem like a big thing. I know they're not doing it with malice intended. They just don't really understand the construct of how that throws things off. So we unfortunately need to put some things in to prevent that, and hopefully the education of that will be relatively quick. And the same thing, most of our issues and or slight problems are due to being popular, of course. hours, and people wanting to be here, right? So their session may sell out in our peak times, and saying, all right, I'll just sign up for this other session just so I can be there. Well, that doesn't work, obviously, because you're too high or too low for that session, and it puts the individual ahead of the betterment of those sessions, or at larger the group. And so, again, I had hoped that some commonsensical approaches would have worked. I don't like being out there with a clipboard and you go here and you go there. It's not the spirit of pickleball, and it 1,000% is not the spirit of what we want to be or what we will be. But in the very short term, I am going to be that guy, and Christina's going to be that gal. And it's one of those I think you'll thank us later for it.
Yeah, establishing that.
Yeah, we're not trying to penalize individuals, but we are trying to keep up the level of the experience for all the players and for the bulk of the players, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And we've heard it from the groups that's what they want us to do, frankly.
Yeah, right.
Well, and that's what we've been saying for months at this point, is that your feedback is important. So clearly it is. Some adjustments will be made, and then it becomes second nature, and the members start to police things themselves, hopefully as well.
I deputized a few. They're doing well.
I have to admit, I myself have broken the rules from time to time. I've lingered past my session time, and I've looked at myself and said, what am I doing? I need to not do that.
You'll be seeing
setting a bad example.
You'll be hearing from one of our deputies.
Yes. I've self-penalized myself.